Hello and welcome to, I guess this would be the fourth edition of Real People Elected Live on Facebook. We do this every Thursday. We're a little bit later today because it was such a busy day. You can understand how just politics is moving. First of all, I want to say a big shout out to one of my good friends and long-term clients, Gail McCann Beatty. Gail is a state representative in the great state of Missouri. Many of you know that I'm from there. And she last night delivered the state of the state Democratic response to the governor's address, and she was fabulous. She definitely represents why I do a little bit of what I do, which is to try to help real people get elected. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. Just a few preview things. First of all, if you're watching this and I see Alex is online and Janine is online, thank you guys for tuning in. Please spread the word. Feel free to like my Facebook page, Holiday Advisors. And today, for the next week, I have a nice little gift that you'll see, a nice little offer gift. If you go to my Facebook page, you can actually download a free checklist on how to run your campaign. It's everything from deciding to run till election day. It's a very comprehensive checklist. It's actually the list that I use with my candidates to make sure that we're covering everything and to help me communicate with other staff and volunteers to make sure that we're all on the same page. And today I'm really excited to be offering it to you. Again, it's going to be on my Facebook page, which is Holiday Advisors, and you can go to the offer button and you'll see it'll say shop online, but it's free. So I definitely encourage you to get that. I'll have that up for another week or so, and I hope that you can check that out. You'll notice if you do download that actually entails a lot of the stuff that I've covered in videos up to this point. And today, if I were following the script, I would talk about how candidates should be preparing themselves to run. But the reality is that here in Maryland, the campaign finance deadline was yesterday, the 10th. And what does that mean? So we talked about this a little bit under things you need to know. So things you should know about campaigns. Periodically throughout the campaign in your state and in my state of Maryland and my other state, home state of Missouri, there will be what's known as filing deadlines. What is filing deadline? So a filing deadline means that on this particular day, and leading up to this day for a period designated, you must report what contributions that you got and who gave them to you and how much they gave. For most states, it's any contributions over $25 or more. There are rules about who you can get money from and where you can get money from, but there is also a rule that says that it must be reported. And so as I worked with a few campaigns this week around fundraising and wrote some last minute checks myself, it was important for me to kind of come back and really have a good conversation with people about fundraising. And I got calls from a few of my friends friends and colleagues and interested parties who are working on campaigns, and they were all kind of wondering the same thing. I'm so many dollars short of my goal. How do I get that last minute push? Where can I find some money? What do I need to do to get that last $1,000, that last $10,000 in so that I can make a good showing with fundraising? So here's the cool thing, and this is just for anybody, not just for campaigns. Every campaign is required to file what's called a campaign finance disclosure. In Maryland, they were due yesterday. What that means is that anybody and everybody can go online, usually at the Secretary of State, sometimes at the Board of Elections, but you can look up Google campaign finance disclosures for your area, and you can find out exactly how much money people have raised and who has funded their campaigns. And let me tell you, campaign finance disclosure forms can be very, very enlightening. I don't want to geek out on you too much, but let me just say that this is how a lot of people find out who's supporting who. It might be surprising to know who's supporting who. A lot of people like to talk about how influential big corporations are on campaigns. This is how you can find out whether or not big corporations or the so-called evil developers are supporting a candidate or not. But the one interesting thing you find out is that most campaigns are also full of lots and lots of people. Lots and lots of people just like me and you who are writing checks anywhere from $25 up to maybe even as much as $1,000 if we're able to support people that we believe in. And one thing that we're going to talk about today is fundraising from your personal circle. If you're a candidate or an operative and you're trying to work with a candidate who's running, the hardest thing that you're going to need to get them to do is to fundraise from people who actually know them. Because the truth of the matter is, and when you look at these finance disclosures, you're going to want to see that people who are he or she's or their known associates are actually contributing to them. So let's say they're a member of the church. Are church members contributing to their campaign? Do the people who really make up their inner circle really believe enough in this candidate to write a check? Do you see people from their business circles supporting them? Do you see their friends supporting them? Because I promise you, if your friends and family won't support you, it's going to be really difficult to get other people to support you. So I know that that is something that may be foreign to people, and for most people, the last people in the world that you want to ask for money are your friends and family. But I want to kind of change the way that you think about this and that you look about this. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. I'm usually the one watching you, so thanks for catching me for a few minutes. And so that's what we want to talk about, because most people don't want to talk about fundraising, and they really don't want to talk about fundraising from their friends. But that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And most importantly, I want to give you a couple of kind of tools and tips about what you need to do and how you need to think about it. But before we get into that, I want to remind people of from whence we've come. We're still in the get ready phase of campaign. Phase 1, get ready. And this phase usually occurs anywhere from 11 to 18 months out from election day. Although for some of you, it may be much, much closer in, or it may be much, much further out. The point is that you're in the get ready phase when you are focusing on preparing yourself, your family, and your team to get ready to run a winning campaign. And I have to be honest with you, most people don't spend enough time in the get ready phase. They are thinking about it, and they kind of make inquiries, and they talk to a few people. Hopefully they include their family in that. And then the next thing you know, they're just telling people they're running. But have they really done, and have you really done all the things that you need to get ready? And the truth is, whether you do them before you announce or you have to do them while you're in the middle of the campaign, these are things that you must do. You cannot shortcut this. You may be having to walk and chew gum at the same time, but I'm sort of trying to help you, encourage you, in fact, to kind of think of these things before you announce so that you are ready to hit the ground running once you announce and once your campaign is officially going. So what are the things that you do in the get ready phase? First thing you do when you're deciding to run, ask yourself, why are you running? Do you have the support of your family and friends? And we're going to come back to that specifically around fundraising in just a minute. Do you have time to participate in a campaign? Remember, initially you need to plan to spend at least 30 hours a week, and closer to the campaign, it becomes a full-time job. Can you manage that type of hectic schedule? And do you have the financial response? Can you manage your financial responsibilities during a campaign? Second up, you need to know your district. It is very important that you know where you're running and deciding which office you're seeking. Do you understand the roles and responsibility of the position? Are you choosing an office that best suits your interests and talents? Do you know who lives in your district? Make sure you get a map from the Board of Elections and make sure you understand who's voting in your district. Sometimes who's voting in your district and who lives in your district, the voters are actually a much smaller subset. So you need to figure out which of the population is actually voting. That is super important. And then the third step in our get ready phase is know the rules. Understand the qualifications needed to run. Review your campaign finance rules and ethics disclosures. We just got finished talking about how important that is. And finally, meet with former electeds for tips and information. Next week, we're going to deal with the fourth level of Get Ready campaign, and that is research and training. But today, we're going to take a little bit of time out just to talk about fundraising. Hey, Tawana girl, I see you. Thank you for joining. And so on fundraising, here's what you need to know, because I'm going to tell you, people think that you don't have to fund, that the only people who give to campaigns are people who have deep pockets. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. People think that there was an anomaly in the way that President Obama fundraised because he was known for having so many what they call low dollar fundraisers, $25, $10 or whatever. And I think the anomaly was just that he had so many, but every campaign, and particularly local campaigns, the foundation of that fundraising is the group that I like to refer to as your inner circle. These are those individuals who give because they want to support you personally. These are the people who really believe in you. And I'm going to give you a hint, and you probably are going to think it's a little predatory, but I promise you it works. One of your best resources in determining your inner circle, yep, you got it, your cell phone. And here's mine. So who's on your cell phone and who needs to be part of this? Family and friends. Very important group. And with each of these, here's what you want to do. You actually want to list them out. This is why having a database is very important. But initially, you can start with a simple Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet, which may make it easier to share in case you don't have SharePoint. Okay, I won't geek out on technology tonight. But the point is, get a list, write the names down, write down their phone numbers and emails, and also write down how much you think they would be willing to give. Everyone is not going to be able to give at the same amount. We know this. But you should really make sure that you get a little bit of something from everyone. And the reality is that many of these people, you're going to ask for more than once. So do what you think they can give to help them feel a part of your campaign and to make them comfortable giving. In the beginning, it may start out as $25, but maybe by the time the campaign is over, you will have asked them for $25 3 or 4 times, and so that adds up to $100. It all starts to add up. So we start with family and friends as first on our list. Second on our list, friends of family and friends. Everybody is a multiplier. So as you see folks and you add them to your list, what you want to be doing is building the list so that it's bigger and bigger. So if you start with friends and family, then the next group of people that you want to look at are the friends of family and friends. Ask your family and friends to give you the names of people that they know, people that they think might be interested in the campaign. So for instance, we're going to take, for purposes of example, a nice small school board election. Perhaps in a school board election, you start out by reaching out to people who are parents that you know. And then you ask your friends and family, do they know parents? Do they have friends who have children in the school district? These are people who are going to have a natural interest in that type of campaign because it affects their kids. So, of course, they should be part of your list. Also, look at your holiday card list or Rolodex. Did I mention your cell phone call list? Definitely that should be included. Then you want to look to neighbors and people who live in your neighborhood and maybe the neighborhoods of your families and friends. You want to look at employers, past employers, current and former bosses, co-workers. You want to think about who's in your business Rolodex that you can contact. You want to think about current and former teachers and classmates, members of your church, people who you volunteered with, club members, individuals, and anybody who you may have done business with. Man, if that doesn't cover everybody, well then let me be very frank and very clear. Ultimately, anybody that you know, anyone that you have a phone number or email for, that's who you want to be asking money from. Now, this can be a very daunting task. So I already know what the next question is going to be. Holly, okay, we got this list. Everybody's in our phone book. We got it. How in the world do we contact all these people, and how do we know what to ask them and how to ask them and that kind of thing? Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. There are a couple of key tools that you can use when fundraising. The two most important tools in your toolbook, in your arsenal, in your toolbox are going to be meetings, calls, and events. Amongst these, I have to admit, I am super partial to phone calls. Now, most of you who know me know I hate to talk on the phone. I mean, I really hate talking on the phone. So when I tell you that I get it and that I understand that, you don't want to deal with phone calls, I get it and I understand because I hate talking on the phone. But the reality is simply calling up people who you know in your close inner circle and telling them that you're running for office, explaining to them why you're running for office and why it's so important that a voice like yours is part of our electorate, and then asking them to support you with whatever contribution they can make is so important. Now, I just made a mistake. Let me correct it. I said call people and ask them to support you with whatever contribution you think they can make. That's kind of the soft way of asking. But a more specific way of asking is ask them for a specific dollar amount. That's why it's really important when you're going through that Rolodex, when you're putting that list together, that you tally or put a little check or put a little number by how much you think they can give. You know, if it's your elderly aunt who you haven't seen in a while and you know she's on a fixed income, you might be reluctant to ask her. But don't be reluctant because she can probably give you $20, and $20 times a multiplier could be $100. Times 5 is 100. So if you get 5 people to give you $20, then you got $100. So you really need to, again, ask everyone, but be realistic about what someone is able to give. Here's another tip. Don't discount people who can offer you services. People who can help you do things that you need to have done in your campaign can be just as valuable, if not more, than money. Because that saves you money in having to be able to pay someone else to do that. So some people you may not have a dollar amount by because their time may be even more valuable to you than their money. But you need to think strategically about what works for each person on your list. This kind of gets you started. It gives you a nice little basics. I want to remind people to go to my page and like it at Holiday Advisors. I want to remind you that I have a nice free little giveaway, which is a campaign checklist for all of those who are interested in running for office. And I want to remind people why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I am so frustrated with so many people who are in office right now. And here's why I'm frustrated. Even though I have to admit I've helped put a lot of them in there. I'm frustrated because they don't want to talk to each other. We have this electorate that just forgot that it's not even about them, that it's about us. And I want to elect people and help get people elected who just want to get things done. And how we get things done is we make sure that we have a diverse point of view. We make sure that we have real people elected. And so many people want to run for office, but frankly, they feel disconnected from the process. And I no longer want the fact that you don't know how to raise millions of dollars or you're not sure how to run a campaign to be the thing that keeps anyone from running for office. So I'm doing my little part to kind of help educate people about some campaign basics. I'm taking just 20 minutes every Thursday to kind of run through some practical tips. So today it's been about fundraising. You can check out my page, Real People Elected, or you can go to my Facebook page to get this free offer. And I hope you try to do that and download it. I think you'll find it really, really useful. Until then, feel free to hit me up or messenger me about things that you want to hear about for next time. I'll be back next Thursday, and hopefully you will too. All right, till next time, don't forget, get elected. Okay, it's over.